Hi, I'm Danny,
I'm Sam.
and this is Business in a Brew.
We'll be poring over business stories,
And talking about things that interest us in the world of business.
so we'd like you to just take a few minutes out, listen.
Yeah, we'd love it if you join our conversation with us. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. You know, I love branding. It's one of my favourite things.
How much? How much do you love branding?
More than mouldy Bourbon biscuits.
Okay. Right.
And I
Why don't you tell the story about the mouldy Bourbon biscuits?
Because no one wants to hear. So basically, I went for 2 Bourbon biscuits out the bottom of the packet, and the whole packet had felt a bit mushy, a little bit stale. And I took these Bourbon biscuits upstairs to my office, and I turned them over, and they were mouldy on the underside. And now I can't eat Bourbon biscuits, and it was just the saddest thing ever.
I've never heard of any biscuit-related crisis like that before.
Well, I think water.
The odd occasional soft digestive biscuit, but not.
That's probably because you just left the packet open, though. This was gross. Never eaten another Bourbon.
Yeah.
Such a shame. Anyway, it's completely unrelated to what I was talking about. What I was going to talk about, failed rebranding.
Yes.
Because you get people who evolve a brand, they move a brand forward, they take it on, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
As businesses evolve, the identity can evolve with it. But I've got 3 relatively amusing to me examples of people that did that. They evolved their brand, they moved forward, and basically they had to undo what they did quite quickly.
Right. Which
just makes me giggle because they're so expensive. It's not easy, it's not cheap.
So this is branding, not products. So I'm just thinking about the Coca-Cola product. The new Coke, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, some of them.
So this isn't a product, this is actually branding. Yeah.
Well, so yes and no. So the first one, for example, is Tropicana.
Mm-hmm.
So they redid all of their packaging and their logo. And that was in 2009. So they went for simply packaging, new logo design and colour palette, and new campaigns. And they invested $35 million. Because you know how expensive branding is. You work for it on the agency side. You know what it costs.
So that was a packaging redesign as well.
Yeah,
so not just...
Basically, the previous packaging had a picture of an orange. So although Tropicana wasn't freshly squeezed, it gave the impression of being freshly squeezed juice. They took the orange off and put a glass on,
right,
with the liquid in. But the liquid was more yellow than orange and more representative of the contents, which stopped giving people the connotation of freshness. It was also really foolishly designed in that the glass image wrapped around the 45 degree, wrapped around the corner, basically. It was on 2 sides.
Yeah, that's 90 degrees on a corner.
Yes, that. It wrapped around the corner. But obviously on a shelf, you don't have, you only have one facing.
Yeah.
And it's butted up against something else. So that image didn't come across because you could only see one angle of it.
Yeah.
So it was basically just very poorly thought
out. Interesting. They were probably held to account. There's a thing that you're not allowed to imply that the contents are different by an image. Because I remember I did some packaging work for a company where you couldn't give the impression that it had juice in it because it had a flavouring in it of that.
Yes, you do have to be very, very careful what you do.
They have to because it's legal. It's legal.
But once you've found that middle ground where you can do what you want to do and communicate to the customer, maybe don't mess about with it too much.
Evolve it.
This wasn't an evolution. This was a throw the baby out with the bathwater job.
Right.
So essentially that launched on the 8th of January 2009.
Yeah.
They reverted to the old packaging on the 23rd of February 2009. $35 million.
Wow, good grief. Yeah, but the cost to revert it as well.
Well, yeah, that's the cost of the original design, not the failed. So and it was quite funny because I was reading about this.
This completely passed me by as well. Completely.
It was North America, so it would have been.
Right. Oh, there you go. Right.
I mean, they weren't foolish enough to go worldwide at once. But apparently designers failed to take into account the emotional attachment of consumers to the image. I mean, I would have been surprised if there was that. Well, apparently there was that much emotional attachment.
There is.
And the packaging just became unrecognisable. You know how there are certain cues in certain areas that you recognise? You recognise the Kellogg's K without the rest of the word Kellogg's.
Mm-hmm.
They'd created design cues that people have become attached to and people recognise. You didn't even need to look for the word Tropicana. You knew that was Tropicana.
No,
and when they took it away...
Yeah, and if you're going to do a wholesale change of the entire thing, including all those cues, it really does become a problem. There's a complete lack of standout. Oh, you heard me talk about a Thai food pitch I was involved with.
Yes.
Years ago. It's going back to 2000. And the internal management team of the company that we were pitching to, Premier International Foods, I think it was, they had said they wanted a complete revamp of the entire packaging for Thai food. But my voice unfortunately wasn't heard in that, and the internal design team within the agency I was working at went out to produce as many different variants they could of different SKUs, SKEW SKEW, of as many designs as they could possibly kind of throw out. That then meant any one of those was a total and utter redesign of all aspects of it, but not an evolution of what they had. And what they had, and the argument that came back, was that there had been no consideration of moving the packaging on from where it was to modernise it. Instead, a complete departure from what they'd had previously.
And that's the thing.
And it was known for its red. It was known for red, and it was known for, because I think the alternatives, their biggest competitor at that time would have been PG, which is white and green and red.
Mm-hmm.
And the Thai food one, it was an encouragement to try and change the colour of it as well, away from the bright red. And of course, that would have meant they would have just disappeared on the shelf. It would have been, who are these people?
And that's the thing.
That's exactly what happens.
If you build a brand, the only reason you would completely revamp a brand like that is if there was some massive scandal or some massive issue and you were literally trying to reposition yourself. But then if you look at, I've just forgotten what it's called. It's now it used to be My Hermes. We all know it's still the same company.
Yeah.
That rebranding did nothing.
Same practices.
Yeah. Anyway, back to.
Hang on, isn't it going to be renamed again?
Is it?
There's a certain amount of baggage that a brand takes.
Really good design delivery company. So the lack of recognition caused a loss in sales of an estimated 20% drop in sales, which is $30 billion worth of cost before they reverted back.
Yeah.
That is in like a month and a bit. That is massive.
That is, yeah.
So that's my first one.
Yeah.
The second one, Gap. Now I didn't even know this happened. This is how short their rebranding was, right? In October 2010, they changed their logo. 6 days later, they changed it back.
Wow.
So the rebranding cost the company $100 million.
I'd love to know what feedback they were getting in order to make the decision so quickly.
Well, apparently people said it was awful. It was just a massive error. They acknowledged, even the management acknowledged, that it was a massive, massive error. Within 24 hours, they had 2,000 negative comments on Facebook. There was a website created called Make Your Own Gap Logo, where 14,000 parody logos were created in 24 hours. There were jokes. There was a whole Twitter thread. What was the Twitter thread called? Oh, the Twitter account gathered 5,000 subscribers in protest. They were trying to modernise it, basically. They were trying to make it a little bit more hip and cool on the edge, because their sales have been declining since 2008 by sort of a 12%, and the logo was 20 years old. So some bright spark went, oh, well, we're not keeping up with the times, we need to modernise. Well, the fact was the Gap brand stood for a certain set of values that logo represented.
Yeah.
People didn't want it to be modern. They wanted this quality clothing at a price point they recognised. And the minute they changed the logo, they thought the product had changed. But actually, the product hadn't changed. The stores hadn't changed. Literally nothing had changed except the logo. And it was just an absolute disaster. Because
it's also started to become a little less relevant than it was?
Possibly. I mean, that 12% decline since 2008 could have been put down to the economy. It could have been just put down to
people being tired of it.
The churn that's created generally by brands.
And the generation that actually grew up with it maybe wanted to move on to something else as well.
Possibly. I mean, they said some of the issues were at no point did they explain why they had changed and what was the point of the rebrand. They just one day woke up and their Gap logo was different.
Well, needed to spend some money to reduce their tax bill, possibly. It's been done before.
This is quite funny. The new brand name was written in Helvetica, which was already considered obsolete in 2010. So they used an obsolete, out-of-date logo font
to
create their modern logo.
Mm.
I know I'm sure that's not the entire contributing factor, but it did make me giggle.
I love that.
So that was a 6 day disaster.
Amazing.
I know.
Wow, that's a good one.
I've got another one. One more. It's MasterCard.
Mm.
So,
because their logo now.
What? No, tell me what their logo was, or what it's always been, because it's not far off what it is now.
Yeah, but it's an orange and a yellow
globe.
Circle. Yeah, not globe.
Yeah. So it's pretty iconic. Everyone recognises the two intersecting red and yellow circles. Yeah. The company decided in 2006 that they wanted to reflect and emphasise the global reach they had as a company. To do that, they thought they'd introduce a third circle.
Ooh.
A globe, if you will.
Right.
The press release stated that the circles reflected the company's unique 3-level business model, which included franchising, processing, and consulting. So I get it. I can actually see the pitch deck the branding company put forward right now.
Yeah.
It cost MasterCard $10 million, and the logo itself cost $1.5 million for a third circle. I mean, I can draw you a third circle for a tenner. It's really not a problem.
Yeah, but you can't say that.
I can.
Yeah, of course you could. Yeah. And then, but anyone could say that. But what about the consultation that went into it and all the rest of that?
Apparently not enough.
Well, yeah, but when you're rolling something out as well, it isn't just the cost, and those costs aren't just from someone sitting there with a pencil and a colouring book. It's the whole process and then rolling it out.
Yes.
That's where the costs come in. Like the BBC, it was like, was it, how many millions it was to roll out their new logo change when they shifted it from vertically sided boxes to slightly forward slanting boxes. There was a ridiculous bill for that, but actually that was the cost to not only do the logo, but to roll the entire thing out.
You're defending agencies everywhere for their exorbitant brand
costs. Yeah, because the agency has a tiny kind of little portion of it.
You've seen what they've done to Nottingham Building Society as well.
There's
no Robin Hood. No, there's no Robin Hood anymore. There's nothing to do with Robin Hood. It's some weird font.
Is it?
Yeah, it's awful. Typography.
Oh, is it called the Nottingham now?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Wow. Hey, thanks for your opinion.
Sorry. The MasterCard logo hadn't changed since 1996 at this point, so it's 20 years old. Hang on, 96, 2000, no, 10 years old. And it did need a change, but it didn't simplify. It made it more complicated and less recognisable than it was before. Mm. The decisions were all made at board level, so yet again, there was no real
detachment from reality.
Yeah, sure, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, no connection to what the customer actually wants to see, what they recognise. And that's been the same with all three of these examples. They just don't listen, or they don't really pay attention to what the marketplace wants. So it returned to the old logo pretty quickly. They did. I forgot to write it down. I know, that's really bad, isn't it?
You knew I was going to ask as well.
I was just reading thinking I should have written that down. But they did continue to use their new logo for corporate communications.
Right, okay. Which is where that is relevant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely relevant to shareholders and to investors, etc., etc.
I should probably explained it to them.
But actually to the consumer, they're not bothered about all that stuff. Yeah.
They just want to know they've got their MasterCard.
They just want something that's recognisable.
Yeah. They did upgrade their logo again in 2016, but that one was more successful because simpler. They went simpler because they learned from their lessons.
Just evolving it to make it simpler and simpler.
100%. Yeah. And ironically, it used to say the word MasterCard underneath, but they've removed that now, and it is just the two circles. Mm-hmm. That is how iconic the two circles are.
Yeah.
But all three of these prove that rebranding for rebranding's sake is not a good idea. You've got to have a real reason
There has to
behind
be a
it.
reason.
And it's got to be an evolution.
The reason drives the purpose.
If you've got no brand equity, absolutely. Start for a blank sheet of paper, although I question why you did what you did in the first place. But any brand equity you've got, you're going to lose it the minute you confuse your customer. People are, we're simple creatures. We want to go to the shelf and see what we expect to see.
Mm-hmm.
We know that primrose oil is packaged in yellow in the vitamin aisle.
Yeah.
We know that, I can't think of another example of branding. Bourbons are always in a brown packet. Custard creams are always in a yellow one. We recognise visual...
Don't start on crisp.
Sorry.
That's where it'll start to get confusing.
Yeah, that's because of that whole salt and vinegar thing. That's very confusing. We recognise visual design clues. We are designed to recognise them. That's how we are conditioned. That's why certain people, when they enter into a category in a marketplace, they follow those design cues. That's why own brands tend to use the design cues of the major players. So you accidentally pick up the own brand instead of the more expensive proprietary brand. It's perfectly normal practice. If you're going to go around chucking everything out and starting again, people are going to get confused.
And they do get confused very quickly. People don't handle change on all sorts of levels.
They don't even like it when they rearrange the supermarket.
No, they've got to unthink what they thought.
Yeah.
And that's that is not good for any market.
No, but these are quite big examples of a lot of money that was thrown down the drain.
And I'm sure you could have bought in 3 or 4 others as well.
There were loads. These were just my 3 favourite. But yeah, it just amazes me.
Yeah.
The way people... And the fact that some of the decisions were made at board level without, hi, you, MasterCard user, what would you like to see? That's not a difficult conversation to have.
Like a consultation with the end consumer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which actually could only be achieved through focus groups. I mean, it's literally consumer research and focus groups.
Yeah. Distilling
it down. Yeah.
So don't rebrand your business.
Whatever you do, if you do rebrand your business...
Says the woman who at 10-year anniversary completely renamed and rebranded her business.
You did.
I did.
Completely. But did you consult your...
No.
Yeah. And what was the purpose?
It was... My business had changed. My ideal client had changed. I was moving everything forward. It was a stake in the ground to
attract a completely different audience.
Yes, and I didn't have brand equity. It's not like on-shelf purchasing.
Yeah, that's completely different. And your audience are very much smaller as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but it is.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not selling Tropicana.
It's niche. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't rebrand unless you've spoken to someone.
Mm.
And don't confuse people. Those are the lessons I've learned from this.
Yeah.
And don't spend billions of dollars on getting someone to draw a third circle.
Thanks for that wisdom.
Sorry.
Danielle Thompson.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening and being a part of today's episode.
If you like what you've heard, or if you feel there's something missing, or you want to ask any questions, please get in contact.
And if you love listening to us as much as we love talking to you, subscribe, download, leave us a review. All the love helps.
Thank you.